Hey guys, John here coming to you from Tutorials for Business. I had to redo this video because the audio wasn't coming out so good on the first one. My mistake, sorry guys. Alright, so like I mentioned, my name is John. I work for a multinational company. I am part of the tools department and I am in charge of creating reports using Excel, SAP, PowerPoint, and other software that might work. Today I'll be discussing these 5 formulas here. These are very simple formulas, but if used correctly, they could be of great help to you on analyzing data. Before we get to discussing each one of the formulas, I just want to talk about PEMDAS, or if you want to use it in a phrase, it's please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So this phrase or these letters, what they are is in the order in which each equation is going to be performed. So first of all, these parentheses, exponentials, multiplication, division, add, and subtract. So as you can see here, I'm breaking down the formula step by step. We do parentheses, then exponentials, then we multiply, then we divide, then we add, finally we subtract, we get to 5.67. And in Excel, if you want to put in a formula, you have to start off by putting an equal sign at the beginning. So I just took this formula we have here and I put my equal signs too, and Excel already knows what is the answer, and it tells you that's 5.67. So that is the way Excel interprets the equation and the way it starts breaking it down. Alright guys, well, before I continue to start talking about the formulas, if you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy it and it helps you out a lot. I'll be posting 1 video, 2 videos per week. I'll be posting them in Spanish and English. So hopefully it's of great help, and please share it if you find it useful. Alright, so going to the first formula here, we're going to use the sum function. Now to use sum functions is very simple. We have a couple ways to do so. Right now I have a table set. I have 10 days here, orders done on those 10 days. So we would like to see how many orders we received. Now you can go down here, very simple, in the home ribbon in Excel. To the far right corner we have auto sum. So what this does is you click it, it sums up the entire range above the cell you clicked. In this case, since there is no blanks in my data, it selects the whole entire set. It tells me that it's gonna sum from B2 to B11, and this is the exact range here that is highlighted. So if that's correct, we just click enter, and right away we can see that we have 41 total orders done on those 10 days. There's other ways to add, and it's just entering your own formula. So just click down here, and to enter your own formula you just click equals to, and then what we can do is we select individual values. So we click first value we want to sum, plus second, and so forth, and we do this all the way down for as many values we want to sum together. And if we just click enter once we finish, as you can see we also have 41. This also works summing the rows up. So we can put here auto sum. It selects everything to the left. It's 9, and we also can just put in a formula here, 1 plus 4 plus 4, and we have 9. So as you can see, there's different ways to do the sum. Excel formulas are very creative, so you probably may have 2, 3, or 4 formulas that can get you the same value, which I use quite often when I do my reportings, because that's the way I validate my data. One thing that's very useful is always validate your data. Use different formulas to validate that your data set is grabbing the accurate numbers, If you get to the same conclusion at the end, or you get to the same numbers at the end, then you just validated your data. So another way we could do a sum here is to create a cumulative count. So what this means is, let's say I'm your boss and I say, okay, so I want to know how many sales we've gotten till day number 4. Well, you would have to sum all these values up and tell me. Now, if we have a cumulative count column, you could very simply say, okay, on day 4, we received X order. So to make a cumulative column, the first value would be equals to our first value. It's the same. There's no values before. Now the second value is the first value plus the sum of the second of the current value. So in this case, since we want to create a formula, equals to our current value plus previous value. Now when you're summing values up, it really doesn't matter in which order you grab them. So I can grab it 4 plus 6 or 6 plus 4, it's still going to give me 10. So once my formula is already entered, I just click enter, and there you go, we have 10. So if we want to keep moving this formula down, I know we won't want to be creating that same formula on each single line below. So what we do is, Excel has a pretty nifty feature that if we select, we just click once on that cell we entered our formula, so we can grab here. So as you can see in the bottom right corner, there is a black square that, if you see my cursor, it changes from thick to thin. We can just click that and drag it to where we want that formula to be at, and it drags it down. So Excel knows that every time I drag it down, he's dragging down those two values, or those two cells. So you can see here, it's 10 plus 2, here 12 plus 8. Another feature is if I can just copy this cell and I paste it down here, it also copies and pastes the formula. And final trick is the double click. So if we hover again on our black square in the bottom right corner, we can double click in that, and it's just going to drag that formula all the way down, but it's going to drag it down all the way to where we have our value. In this case, we don't want to sum because we don't want to sum this value because that's our result. So one of the things is, if you do it that way, let's say if I hover the black square at the right bottom corner and I double click, this line is going to disappear. So watch. So see, it messes up your format. So you have to create that formula again. Another way we could do so is, let me delete this out. So if I just copy my formula, I drag it to the end where I want to, and then I go either up here and paste formulas, or I right click here, paste special values with formulas. Either way, it's just going to paste the formula without messing up my formatting. If you're using Excel 2016, once you right click, let's say I already have this in copy, so if I go grab here, that's where I want my formula, and I would right click, I would get a value here that says paste formulas already without going to paste special. So it all depends which version of Excel you're using. So as you can see here, we just created a cumulative count column. So if I were to tell you how many units we sold to day 7, you could easily say 32. And just in case you got lost, why there's two 41s here, because it's 36 plus 5 equals 41, and then 41 plus 0 equals 41, because on day 10 we didn't sell anything. So that's basically how to do sums and how to work your basic formulas here for sum. Moving forward, we're going to be working with subtract. Okay, so like we mentioned here, this is the exact same data set or exact example. So we have here our orders done by the day. You can just easily sum that up. Dimension. Okay. Now on this selection here, we have quantities we have on hand. So this is our order and this is what we have. So right now we want to see what are the quantities pending to supply. Or simply we can just add this column up from C2 to C11 and we say it's 38. So we have 38 quantities on hand and we got requested 41. So obviously we are 3 quantities short. Now one of the things I wanted to show you guys is, let's say this is 0 and I want to sum my column. So I click down here because this is what I want my sum to be. And when I click on my sum function up here, it's going to stop right there. And why? Because we have a blank cell in our column. This is going to happen with all your formulas. If you have a blank cell in your data set, be careful. Make sure you you drag those ranges all the way up, or make sure that the formula goes all the way down, because Excel interprets a blank cell that the data stops there. In this case, we can just grab our range and just move it up, and then we can click OK. Or we can move our range. So I just double click where our formula is. It's going to show me what is outlining it, and I can just move it around to wherever I want to. Okay, so subtract. So subtract only works here. So subtract only works here as a single value method. So what that means is I have to click here equals to one value minus another value, and that's it. So when you're using subtract and this specific formula and a few others, but on this formula that we're seeing right now, you always have to make sure that you don't mix up your numbers. So for instance, if I'm interpreting this data, I can say, okay, we have pending 1 unit. But if you choose to do it backwards, you can as well. So if we double click here, you can just grab which is first and which is last. So we just put 3 minus 4 and it changes. So we have -1. So we can say, okay, we were missing to deliver 1 quantity, so we're negative. So always make sure that the selection you choose or the order you choose, you don't mess it up, because right now this line is saying that we're short 1 unit. But if I change the way I do this formula to the second row, then I'm saying here, let me change it up. If I change the formula, so just to recap, and the first is on hand minus ordered, and the second is ordered minus on hand. So the formula got switched. It's the exact same number, and the way I would interpret it is, okay, so we were missing 1 quantity on day 1 and on day 2. But that is not true, because on day 2 we had 1 extra quantity. So just make sure that your formula goes all the way down accordingly. Now it makes sense. Now we're saying we're missing 1 quantity on day 1. We have 1 extra on day 2 and 2 extra on day 3. So same thing we could do, we could drag it down. You can copy and paste. We can copy and paste special values. Sorry, formulas. Paste special formula. We can double click, but remember that messes up our guys. So it's acting funky on me today. So if we double click, goes all the way there. Now why that is I have a blank cell here. See? There we go. Kinda got scared there for a minute, people. So as we can see here, like we mentioned, there's 3 quantities missing, and as it did the total for us because it's just I dragged the formula all the way down and it just said on hand minus ordered. To validate our data, we can just sum our range here, and what I did there was I just clicked on the formula and selected which range I wanted to sum, and I click enter. As you can see here, they're both negative, so the number is correct. We validated our data. So that is basically subtract. Remember, subtract is on a single value basis. Right, so moving forward to multiply. So here in multiply we have the same data set, but we only added price per unit. So let's sum this up again just to recap always on what we've done. And now I'm going to show you a very neat trick here. Excel, if you choose 2 values together, Excel determines what is the increments or what is the value about, and it can infer what goes next. So for instance, I could say my price on day 1 is $1.50, but I wanted to increment 25 cents each day. So what I do here, day 1 is 150, day 2 is 175, and I don't have to just keep plugging in my numbers here. I could just drag my selection, and Excel would already know that it's 25 cents increments based on the 2 original values that I chose. In this case, we cannot copy and paste. We cannot paste formulas. We only have to grab our first 2 values and then drag it to wherever we want to end. And there you go. Day 1 is $1.50, but day 10 is $3.75. So we cannot sum individual prices because that would be crazy. And just to show you, our price range from $1 to $3, but if we sum it all together, it gives us $26, which isn't true. So we cannot sum that together. What we can do is we multiply our quantity by our price, get a standardized amount here, and then we can sum that amount. So in order to do so, we're doing a formula, so equals to quantity times, so times is asterisk, and our price. And we just click enter. So multiply is also a single value basis formula. So in this case, since we did a formula, we can drag it down, we can copy and paste, and we can do all that good stuff with it. We can drag this down here and then copy and paste special formulas here, so we don't mess up our formatting this line here. Now we can sum this line up because now we're standardized it. So we're saying on these 10 days and these 41 orders, we received $100.25. Okay, so I'm going to discuss also here with you guys a formula called average. So since, remember, I told you we cannot sum all the prices together because it doesn't make sense, what we can do is we can create an average and see what is the average price we're charging. So if we do so, we can say okay, so equals, because we're entering a formula, you put average, and Excel already gives you a list of predetermined formulas already. So we want to make an average here. We just double click on this selection. It's going to open up parentheses. We're going to choose the range that we want to average. I'm going to choose the prices, and once I choose it, I can just click enter, and there we go. So our average price per unit is $2.63. So instead of doing increments, we can just change this to $2.63, and it could be roughly the same price. Alright guys, one thing also that I wanted to mention here on sequencing is that it also works for months. So if you write here January and February, and you choose those 2 months together, and we grab our square here and we drag it to the side, Excel already knows those are months, and it keeps creating 1 month to the side. So January to July, or it depends to where you drag it to. So those are neat features that Excel has in order to make our lives easier. Alright, so finally we're going to get to the division tab here. And then to divide, I just want to recap what we've done. So we've summed this up. We do our sequencing here, and we drag it down. Our daily sales we multiply, so we multiply our quantity asterisk or time by the price. We grab our formulas, we copy it, we select our range, we paste special formulas, and we sum our total, and we make our average. So I did this all real quick for you guys to see and recap what we've done. Now division as well is on a single value basis, so you have to choose 2 specific values or type in 2 specific values to divide. So we want to see the average sales per unit. So instead of just creating an average of the price per unit we're having every single day, since we have our total values, we can just say here equals to price over quantity, and we see that it's $2.45. Okay, so we can use division to just infer, get some ratios of our data, and this way we can make forecast. So we already have that we have an average sales per unit of $2.45. Now if we look at our average here and we look at this value here, they differ for about, let's say 15 or so. No, not 15. Let's do this real quick. So this minus this, so 18 cents. So it's a difference of 18 cents. So when we're gonna forecast, we always use our lower number. This way we avoid any risk of inflating our revenue or inflating our expenses. So when you're forecasting, always use the lower number that you receive when you do this kind of analysis. Now, and this is because we have different prices per day. Also, we have different orders done per day. So how can we make forecasts for the future to see what could be our potential earnings? So what we do is same scenario. You can just grab here, we want to see our average quantity per day equals to 41 quantities ordered divided by 10 days. And we have 4.1 quantities ordered per day. To validate this, we could also type it in, so equals to 41 divided by 10. It's also 4.1. And we can mix them all together as well. This one divided by 10, 4.1. So as you can see, either I choose both cells, I type both numbers in, or I can select the cell and type one number in, and it's still going to work. The formula won't mess up or anything. And as we can see here, we have 4.1 across. So why is this helpful? So let's say here I want to do forecast. So we have days, we have orders, we have price, and we have sales. Okay, so let's say we want to forecast our next 20 days. So 20 days. So we know that our orders are 4.1 orders per day. We know that an average price is $2.45. So we want to know our sales. So equals to 20 times 4.1 times 2.45. And we have that if we continue our next 20 days at this rate, we'll have $200.90. Since you already did this formula here and it's referring to the cells here, you can make any changes you want and the formula will auto recalculate here. So if we can change this to 30, you see it changes to $301.35. We change our price as well, it changes. So every formula you make, it auto adjusts to the values. So remember, subtract, multiply, and divide are on a single value basis. So guys, up to here, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it's beneficial for you. Let me know if you like the video below. Please leave your comments. If you like it, please hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel to see further videos. I'll be discussing tips and tricks of Excel, SAP, and other software that I use in my work. So guys, thank you so much. Before I leave, I just want to leave you guys with one thought. Please always search, always learn, and keep growing. We have to keep searching to keep learning and to keep growing, because we have to earn always. This allows us to grow our careers. This allows us to grow ourselves in a personal matter, and it allows to grow our business. If we don't search, we don't learn, we may stay stuck, and that's not the point, guys. So, you know, keep it up, keep searching, keep learning, keep growing. And this is John signing out. Until next time, you take care, guys.